of course, as always, I'm super glad that you made it here. I'm Noi, if you're new here. And this is the second in our Kick the Habit series. So in last week, we talked about the Kick the Sugar habit. And if you'd like a copy of that or a link to that training, make sure to let me know and drop Kick the Sugar habit into the comment section. And I'd be happy to shoot you a link to that one. In this one, this is called the Kick the Coffee habit live training. But because I'm super excited though, because you are in for a huge surprise. Okay, so yes, this is going to be about coffee and caffeine, but not just coffee and caffeine. This is going to be a training unlike anything you could possibly be experiencing from just looking at the title. What this isn't going to be is a boring health talk about caffeine, what it does in your body, or how much is too much, blah, blah, blah. No, originally I was going to go down that road, I admit, but I decided earlier today to come at this from an entirely different angle because I'm tired of just giving you information. I actually want to give you transformation. Now, if you've ever wondered if you have a coffee addiction, or frankly, if you've ever struggled with an addiction of any kind to a substance or a food or anything like that, this training is going to blow your mind. And I guarantee by the end of it, you will know what exactly is at the root of a destructive habit or food addiction and how, if you want, to get out. Okay? But first, what I'd like to do is look at some funny memes that had me laughing earlier today. Okay, so we're going to start this off because it's always good to start off with some humor so that we can energetically align ourselves and have some fun. And I encourage you as we're going through these to comment. You know, I want to see your comments and your reactions in the comment section with emojis or LOLs or, you know, amens or hallelujah, whatever. The goal is to laugh at ourselves here. We're trying to be playful. I really want this to have fun. Okay, so first thing, who can relate to this? And I'll read it to you in case you're watching this on your phone and you can't quite read but it says, I don't really have a plan most days, just caffeine and weirdness, my friend, caffeine and weirdness. That one really struck me funny. Here's another one. May your morning coffee give you the strength to make it to your mid-morning coffee. Oh, and how about these two? These are hilarious. This one on the side says, you're strong, you're beautiful, and you make the world a better place. Oh, sorry, I was talking to my coffee. And the other one is, I wouldn't say I would die without my morning coffee. I'm just saying other people might. I love the angry cat. I just love, you know, anytime they incorporate animals, I just think those are great in memes. Here's another one. This really caught my attention. When you have to make the coffee before you've had the coffee. Can I get an amen to that one? Man, we got to make it first. And then I like that. How do I take my coffee? Seriously, very seriously. People would ask me, how do I take my coffee? And I'd be like, black as my soul. All right, this one is cute. It got my attention. Even your coffee is surprised when you wake up this early. Look at him. I thought that was so cute. And this is a great, please don't disturb me while I'm having my coffee. Right now, all my people skills are in this cup. Can I just get like a hand holding up emoji if you've ever felt like your people skills were in your cup of coffee? Like, please just don't talk to me just yet. I need this. Just don't talk. Oh, and this was funny. Decaf coffee? And then would you like some orange-free orange juice with that? Yes, that is how I feel. I love that guy. I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Okay, this is logic. I feel like this is logic. You won't crash after drinking coffee if you never stop drinking coffee. Hey, there's a little logic for you right there. And then who can identify with these faces? What do you mean there's no coffee? And I need coffee now. The drowning cat look. Yes, I feel like I've looked in the mirror and seen that drowning cat before. I swear. And this is a great one. Why I drink coffee, okay? First of all, it tastes good. Second of all, it's warm and cozy. Third, for digestive reasons, it helps get things going, right? Fourth, everybody else does it. And of course, oops, the big reason, so I can feel something for once in my life. Please tell me if you have ever had that. I want to feel something. And of course, coffee, because crack is bad for you. That's also logic. I think we can all identify with. And my favorite, the last one, the reasons I need coffee. You ready for this? First of all, it tastes like hopes and dreams. Second, caffeine perks me up. Third, other people talk to me in the morning, so I need my coffee. Jail is a real thing. It's difficult to work if my eyes are closed. It helps me mimic socially acceptable behavior. And finally, because strangers stare at you if you forget to put pants on. This is an opportunity to laugh at ourselves, right? It's an opportunity to enjoy these funny coffee memes because, it's true. I think that this is something that many of us can relate to. As a college student, I remember pulling all-nighters with my roommate, as we would spend all night studying for our finals or a test at the local 24-hour restaurant, which for our little area was called the Millstone. Now, that was the first age that I was when I noticed how much I actually loved coffee. I used to actually cringe when my mom would make coffee every morning because she would, drink it black. And I would think that that was absolutely gross because I tried a sip one time. She's like, yeah, have a sip. It tasted nasty. It was bitter and gross. But yet by the time I got to college, what started off, of course, as those candy coffees that you'll get over at, any coffee shop, went down to maybe just blonde and sweet, a little cream and sugar with it, and gradually whittled down slowly into straight black coffee. Sometimes 6 to 7 cups a night, I kid you not. Mostly because I didn't want to put on the extra pounds that were in the cream and sugar, if I'm being honest. I loved, though, everything about coffee. I love the smell. I love the taste. I love the jitters. I also noticed, though, that it helped me study better. It cleared my mind and it helped me focus my thoughts. I love the energy that it gave me. And I started drinking a cup before my workouts. By the time I was 25 or so, I could not even work out without a strong pre-workout drink that had copious amounts of caffeine in it. I switched to actually upping the amount of caffeine and doing pre-workout drinks. I mean, literally, if I did not shoot that drink, I would talk myself out of the workout, or I just would not do it. I would not perform. And don't even get me started on just getting through my work day, right? I would start the day with at least 2 cups just while my computer was warming up. And, by the time it was lunch, I probably had been averaging probably about 5. This pattern continued throughout my 30s until I realized I was drinking 1 pre-workout drink, 9 cups of coffee every day. I was having trouble sleeping. Therefore I was on sleeping pills that I just couldn't exist without. I had also developed generalized anxiety disorder. I was always so anxious. Surely it didn't help that my husband had anxiety and he had a drinking problem. And well, the thing is, though, despite that external chaos, I am sure caffeine contributed to that problem more than anybody realized. By the time I was 35, I had also developed Barrett's esophagus, which is a precancerous condition where the acid levels in my stomach were so toxic that it started to change the inner lining of my esophagus and turn it into cancer. My blood pressure was also rising. My hormone levels were changing. My energy levels were so erratic throughout the day that without coffee, I just felt like I could not function. I could not stop drinking the coffee. I could not afford the crash. My nervous system was a wreck and did not know how to regulate itself. My marriage, sure, was coming apart at the seams. My career felt unrewarding, but I knew something had to change. Like I said before, this live training is not going to be anything that you would expect from a normal kick the habit kind of a talk. This is going to be a process that I'm going to bring you through that's not about information. It's an exercise in transformation, something that I feel is far more beneficial for far more people. But I can tell you this, you are in the right place if you've ever had a substance, coffee, food, drink, alcohol, drugs, pills, whatever, consume your thoughts. You're in the right place if you've ever said or thought any of the things on the memes that I showed you earlier. And you're in the right place if you consume more than 4 cups of coffee or 2 energy drinks per day and feel like your body is depending on it in order to think clearly or give you energy. And most importantly, you're in the right place if you are experiencing chaos of any kind, depression, erratic energy levels, mood swings, and you depend on substances just to get through your day. And you are ready to admit that it needs to stop. Because here's the thing, coffee is not our enemy. Coffee is a cultural staple in our society and has many proven benefits, actually. But there are also some hidden risks on the other side of that coin that you might not be aware of. Now, coffee is the perfect example of the polarity theory that I introduced in our Kick the Sugar Habit talk, because everything in life is a series of opposites, opposite poles, yin and yang, expansion and contraction. Like everything, there are 2 sides to every coin. And if we don't really understand the full picture, the payoffs and the costs, then we really can't make an informed decision, can we? No, we will constantly be repeating the same habits and being stuck in the same cycle. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of information, and this is the only information part that you're actually going to get from this talk. But this kind of sets the scene for the exercise that I'm going to get us the transformation. So you're gonna have to bear with me here. Now, all of this information will be posted in the group on Friday, so you don't have to take notes here. There will be a post on Friday. You can find this later, okay? So there is a flip side, looking at both sides of the coin of coffee, okay? So first of all, coffee has powerful antioxidants. Yes, it has natural antioxidants in the coffee bean that help to reduce inflammation, helps to bind free radicals, which cause cancer. It can help to prevent against premature aging and diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, things like that. It also increases acid in our stomach, which can help us to digest our food and push it through our GI tract faster. Coffee naturally triggers our liver and our kidneys to kick into high gear. And those antioxidants in the coffee help to support their detoxification job. This is why we often have a bowel movement shortly after our morning cup of coffee. That's a great thing. But on the flip side of that coin, though, coffee is also a diuretic and can cause what's called the depletion effect. You see, as our livers and kidneys are getting this great workout, they have to pull water from our body to flush out those toxins. This causes us to urinate more. Whenever we urinate, our body pulls calcium out of our body as well, and it gets carried out excessively when we excessively pee. So without adequate calcium, though, our bones become less dense and more fragile. Women going through menopause are already losing calcium because of estrogen depletion. So drinking coffee actually increases that risk of calcium depletion. But it also depletes glutathione levels, which is another antioxidant that our body makes that helps us, fight against cancer, process those free radicals. If our glutathione is depleted, this is the catcher, then too much coffee can actually overwork our liver and kidneys, causing dehydration, because our liver and kidneys require that glutathione to function. And even then, when the increased acid, which causes us to go to the bathroom, can also over time wear down the lining of our stomach and cause ulcers. So you can see there's 2 sides to those antioxidants that coffee can give us. Now let's look at weight management. Okay, coffee is full of caffeine. And this goes for anything with caffeine at this point. Caffeine helps us feel energetic, and it suppresses our appetite. This is because caffeine inhibits this neurotransmitter in our brain called adenosine. So it puts it on hold, it puts it on lock. Adenosine is responsible for loosening blood vessels. And so it causes, the caffeine then causes our blood vessels to constrict, which pulls our blood vessels closer together, and it pulls our neurons closer together as a result. This causes like increased energy levels as our neurons get closer together. It triggers dopamine in our brain to help us feel motivated and positive. It's a powerful tool for eating less calories because it suppresses our appetite and pushes us through that tough workout, right? But the flip side of that coin is that caffeine affects ghrelin levels. Now, ghrelin is our hunger hormone. And this is why it's a natural appetite suppressant, because it stuffs ghrelin down. But while we're not feeling hunger and we're not eating as a result, our blood sugar dips dangerously low, so that when coffee wears off and the ghrelin level returns and we hit that huge crash where all of a sudden the coffee wears off and we're feeling really junk, it's because our blood sugar has taken a nosedive. And then our ghrelin floods back into our system and goes batshit crazy, which makes our cravings even harder to control. And we're more likely in those moments to choose something sweet and fatty to snack on, which can completely defeat the point of all of the weight management that we were getting. Now, let's look at the effects of the brain. Remember, I mentioned in my story, I was noticing it was making me think clearer. Well, as I talked about earlier, when caffeine inhibits that adenosine, which it improves mental clarity because the blood vessels shrink and it pulls the neurons closer together, which increases their ability to process thoughts and fire between each other. Coffee beans also have those antioxidants, right, that keep your brain cells healthy and boost the performance of those neurotransmitters. This is why drinking 1 cup of coffee every day has been linked to reduced risk of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. But here's the flip side of that coin. It's actually no coincidence that donuts and coffee are historically paired together. One of the side effects of not having enough adenosine in our body is that we can't perceive sweet flavors. I know it's weird. This neurotransmitter makes us taste sweet things. Now remember, our body's always looking for glycogen. So our body wants to be able to taste sweet. When our body realizes that there's an imbalance and it can't all of a sudden taste anything sweet, what does it do? It starts sending out cravings for more sweets. It starts sending out signals that something is wrong. So suddenly those cravings for sweet things start triggering. And yet when we eat the sweet things, they don't taste as sweet. So we end up eating more than we should. In addition to that, coffee is also extremely acidic, right? I mentioned it, it increases the acid in our stomach. Well, our stomach then starts sending out warning signs to our brain that we need something fatty because we want to slow down digestion and bready to soak up all that extra acid, hence the donut effect. Sugar, fat, and bread. The problem is processed sugar is a toxic chemical to our brain, and eating large amounts of it can literally impair brain function and negate the very brain boosting effects that we had intended in the first place. Can you see that there are 2 sides to every coin? Now, in my programs, I encourage my clients to get curious about chaos when it shows up in their lives. Chaos being anything that feels off. You see, peace, balance, and joy is our God-given state in life, ladies, and they should be flowing throughout us naturally at all times. When we're in a state of flow, we feel vibrant, energetic, and positive. But if ever there's a time when they're not flowing and we feel like we have to rely on a substance to get it back, that's an indication of chaos. That substance becomes like a false god or a slave owner. And that is an opportunity for us to get curious, not judgy, not condemning. This is not a blame game or a shame session. What I'm not going to tell you, even as a health and life coach, I'm not going to tell you that coffee or energy drinks is evil and that everybody should give it up. No, you are a grown-ass woman and you know what is right for you. Your authentic voice speaks up when it needs to. It's just that sometimes we can become too distracted by the chaos going on around us to hear it. And the problem is judgment and frustration only adds to that chaos. It only makes it more. But curiosity, ladies, curiosity diffuses it because it allows us to step outside the situation and view it from a different angle. My oldest son used to be obsessed with Legos when he was a kid. He would build these fantastic and intricate structures. We lived in Ohio at the time because my husband was in seminary. And whenever we would travel home to his family in Wyoming for the holidays, we would stop at a hotel for one night in between, usually around the West Des Moines area. Shout out to all you West Des Moines areas. Now, he loved shapes and sizes of the hotels that we would stay in, and he would just obsess about them. And so then he would spend most of his free time building those hotels. He would recreate those hotels with the Legos. He was about 5, 6, 7 at the time. Then he started doing something kind of cool. When he realized that my phone could take pictures, he started stealing my cell phone and taking pictures of his hotel from all angles. He would get the street view, he would get the side view, he'd get the back view, and then my favorite, the Google Earth view. That's right, you guessed it, straight down from the top. He would call it the Google Earth view. I would open my phone and there would be all these pictures of Lego buildings all over it. You see, as a kid, he was very aware that there were different multiple views to everything. And this is what we should be doing when we want to diffuse chaos. Looking at it from different views, like a detective, because that allows us to see things that we wouldn't otherwise see if we were stuck on the inside of the building. Guess what he gets to do now for a living? He's a pilot. He gets to view the world from that Google Earth view every day. Pretty cool, huh? So will you play a game with me? We're going to play the Google Earth game, or as I actually like to call it, the moving from chaos to curiosity game. Although I am a certified health and life coach, I don't want to tell you what to think. We suffer from a high fact diet, too many facts, too much confusion. Instead, I want to teach you how to think today. I'm going to take you into the mind of a coach, and you can see then the Google Earth view of one situation that I experienced with an actual client who was dealing with a pretty substantial coffee addiction. Now remember, as a coach, I don't hold judgment. I hold space. So our job today is to cultivate curiosity, to map this client's thought patterns and discover what thoughts are running the show from inside the building of her mind. Because there's chaos going on inside and around that building. There are people running and screaming and nobody knows what's going on. But we are in a helicopter hovering from above, only able to see from the Google Earth view and around the sides. That's the tricky part. We have to discover the chaos inside by observing the chaos on the outside. Are you ready to play? Okay. Now, this is a real life situation from one of my actual clients, but because it's natural as a human to feel judgment and a shame, when personal vulnerable stories are shared, I am going to change her name to protect her privacy. So we're going to call her Betty. Now I'm going to read this and I want you to really pay attention to a lot of the details, okay? Betty wakes up each morning and lets out a long sigh as she pulls herself out of bed, having pressed snooze the mandatory 3 times already. She didn't sleep well last night, as usual. She seems to fall asleep quickly each evening, but around 2 or 3 in the morning, she wakes up, tossing and turning. As her mind races about random events or conversations from the day before or upcoming tasks she has waiting for her at work. Sometimes she spends half the night getting more and more pissed off as she watches the hours tick by, and then finally falls asleep again, literally minutes before her alarm goes off. Ugh, she says as she rolls off the bed and turns on the light. Her first thought, coffee. She heads directly to the machine and begins the brewing process. Then she gets into the bathroom to brush her teeth and empty her bladder and back to the machine just in time to pour herself a cup of liquid energy. Ah, she says out loud as she smells that amazing coffee smell and the taste of the black coffee slides down her throat. It doesn't matter that it's nearly boiling hot. The heat only helps the ultimate goal of waking her up. She feels happy. She feels whole. She feels complete. She downs that first cup in less than 10 minutes, pours herself another, and heads to the couch to do her morning brain games, sipping the second a little slower in between swipes on her iPad. She completes a few minutes only to realize that, she's behind schedule. Oops, the game had gotten away from her again. So now she feels a little bit of a rush of cortisol and stress as she hustles to her bedroom, straight to her shower, gets that all sorted, throws on whatever outfit she can find, brushes her hair, heads to the kitchen to fix herself some food. She downs another 2 to 3 cups as she gathers her lunch and her things, and then fills her king-size to-go cup on the way out the door. She makes it to the office at exactly the right time, heads straight to her desk to turn on her computer and store her purse. As her computer is warming up, she refills her king-size cup with the generic crap that the office pays for and heads to her desk again to start sorting through the emails and accomplishing her tasks. The morning feels like a blur by the time her lunch alarm on her watch goes off. Where did it go? Feeling her eyes getting heavy again, she heads back to the break room to refill her to-go cup and grab her lunch. She's got to make a few phone calls, so she opts to eat lunch at her desk as she works. Her boss peeks his head in, knowing exactly where to find her, and reminds her about a few tasks she needs to follow up on. He's also reassigning a few things from other people to her because they can't keep up. She forces a grin and adds them to her list. Well, it may be a late night again tonight. Throughout the day, she keeps refilling that cup every time her eyes begin to get heavy. She can't afford a crash now, but luckily she is able to complete her tasks and get out of there by 6, just in time for after work traffic. Not wanting to drink coffee after 5 so that it doesn't mess with her sleep, she grabs a Lipton iced tea from the fridge on her way out the door. As she's driving, a friend calls and invites her out for drinks. But by the time she gets home, her eyes and body feel so heavy, she calls her back and politely declines. She then reheats some leftovers in the fridge and sits in her comfy chair to scarf it down. Her daughter calls to chat her up, but she had fallen asleep. Almost minutes after scarfing down her dinner and turning on the TV, she wakes up again at 8, disoriented, but not surprised. She makes her way upstairs to fall into bed. Rinse and repeat tomorrow. Does this story happen to hit a chord with anybody out there? Now, maybe not the details of this situation exactly, but the overall tone in general. I'm super curious, as you were listening to the story, what emotions were you feeling while you were hearing it? Go ahead and drop a few of those into the chat section. What emotions could you identify as you were feeling in your own body? Start to get curious about that as you were listening to this story unfold. You know, as someone on the outside of her situation, what were the signs of chaos that you could pick up from the information that you were given so far? Where was the chaos? You know, remember, chaos is an indication of anything that isn't peace, joy, and balance. So drop that into the chat section. What emotions were you feeling and what chaos did you observe in the story? I'm super curious. What do you guys think? What were some of those? And I'm going to try to get onto the Facebook too and see if anybody's commenting in there. This is about a little bit of a delay in there, but that's okay. Let's see if we have, what are the signs of chaos and emotions? There we go. Get that up. Yeah, what are those emotions and chaos? Okay. Well, when Betty enrolled in my 90-day program, she was dealing with high blood pressure, insomnia, and many symptoms of depression. She expressed general unhappiness with her job, with the weather, with the city she lived in, you know, and just really a lot of frustration with really erratic energy levels throughout the day. She really wanted more energy. So let's get curious about that chaos, okay? When you think about the story, get into the mind of a coach. What behaviors did you observe that might be contributing to that chaos? Go ahead and type that into the comments, putting on your coaching hat, taking away all judgment, nothing like that. We're just simply looking at the external behaviors. What were those behaviors that might be contributing to her really erratic energy levels, to her unhappiness with her job, the weather, the city she's lived in, with her insomnia, her blood pressure? What were some of those behaviors? Remember, behaviors are neither good nor bad. They're just behaviors, they exist. So put some of those into this chat section. Even if you're looking at this by replay, put some of those behaviors into the chat section. Let's get into thinking like a coach, okay? Now, going back to the story, were you able to observe how much caffeine Betty was consuming throughout the day? You know, most to-go cups are, you know, about this size, or about 2 coffee cups or so. And although you couldn't have possibly counted how many cups she actually drank throughout the day, you could definitely get a sense that it was a lot, right? And did you even catch that sneaky caffeine? She may not have even realized that she was drinking. What was it? Go ahead and put that into the chat. What was it? What was the sneaky caffeine she was drinking that she didn't realize? Yeah, the tea. The Lipton iced tea has caffeine in it as well. Most Lipton iced teas do. So now you've entered into the mind of the coach. And as someone with the Google Earth view of the situation, hovering around the building in the helicopter, my job is to try to phone the manager from the plane and see, you know, while I can see that there are people running around outside the building screaming for help, and they're running in and out of the doors, and they're jumping out of windows. I can see the chaos on the outside, but what I can't see is what's going on inside the building. But yet, I have the best seat in the house. Why do I have the best seat in the house? And go ahead and drop into the comment section why you think I actually have the best seat in the house. Why is it more beneficial for me to be in the helicopter looking down on the situation than in the lobby? Why do you think? Put your thoughts in the comment section about why that's the best seat in the house. And I'm super curious as you think about that, you know, why is it the best seat? Well, let me ask you this. What do you think Betty's really looking for here? Why do you think she asked for help? What does she hope to gain by partnering with me? What do you think? What are her motivations? You see, her motivations, what she's looking for, that is the vision. That is the first part of the Phoenix fire. Those motivations, that desire to get something that's not happening now. That's the first part of the Phoenix fire right here, that compelling vision. And this Phoenix fire is the formula that I use when I work with my clients. Betty had her vision. She wanted to feel more energy. She wanted to be able to go out with her friends. She wanted to be present for her daughter and grandchildren when they came around. She wanted to be off the hypertension medication. She wanted to lose weight, you know, that's been piling up on her body over the years. And she really wanted to have the courage and confidence to pursue a job that she actually loves, maybe even one that makes more money, and maybe eventually move out of her city. She wants peace. She wants balance. She wants joy. She wants happiness. Those are the things that make her vision compelling. She wants those things. Now, what do you think my role is? How can we, as her coach, help her be successful in this situation to find that peace and balance and joy? What do you think our role is? Go ahead and put into the comment section, what do you think the role is and why she chose to come to me? Now, as a health coach, I know a great deal about the body, about the effect caffeine has on our bodies, the pros and the cons, the typical tolerances that the FDA suggests, how much coffee we should consume in a day, the symptoms of adrenal fatigue, which are obviously one of the physical root causes at play here. But why would advice and information not be beneficial tool for Betty? Because here's a clue. This is the way that a coach thinks. Advice and information, telling her what to do, is not going to create transformation in her body. But why? Why do you think? Go ahead and put into the chat section, why do you think advice and information would not be a beneficial tool for Betty in this moment? Well, because Betty's not looking for information. She's looking for transformation. You see, she's stuck on the inside of that building, inside that chaos. When we're stuck inside of our own building, the last thing that we want is somebody adding things into the building. The last thing we want is somebody telling us what to do or what to think or giving us more information. There's already distraction going on. She's asking for help because she wants somebody to take away that distraction. Because here's the thing, everything that she was doing every day in those moments is what she believes the solution is. You see, Betty believed the coffee was the solution to getting more energy, to experiencing balance and peace and joy, experiencing that feeling of completeness. Sure, she admitted it might be temporary, but it was the best solution that she could come up with. Sometimes we don't always see that our own solutions might be contributing to the chaos itself. That is why support and accountability is one of the elements of the Phoenix Fire 2. This is my role. This is our role in this instance as the coach. Our job is to ask the right questions, phone into the manager from the helicopter, ask the right questions to get into her mind, help her bring awareness and get curious just about certain patterns that I'm able to see from the top, so that she can then make a decision to pursue a behavior that is going to maybe get her out of that cycle, help her exit that building. That's transformation. And that's what I give my clients. Now with Betty, after our 12-week program, she had more energy, clarity, and self-control in her body and mind than she had had in years. Our sessions uncovered a few different thoughts and feelings that had been contributing to her chaos. And she was then able to identify the difference between emotional exhaustion and physical exhaustion, and cultivate that practice of getting curious about how it was affecting her energy levels. We tried a few experiments each week that allowed her to try on some new habits for size, like trying on a pair of pants. And in doing so, she increased her water intake. She decreased her overall coffee consumption. She identified foods and drinks that were sapping her energy. She started eating more vegetables and meal prepping her food more strategically. She learned how to give herself more nourishment. But what was really huge is she also learned how to forgive past trauma, and to praise herself more, and to increase her ability to have gratitude and positivity each day. She increased the capacity for what was possible. She gained hope and clarity. And by working through our program, she even gained the confidence to approach her boss about a raise. She became the next version of her bravest self. I'm so proud of the transformation that she was able to accomplish in only 3 months. And I'm honored to hold space for her to accomplish it. Now, I know that this training was originally about kicking the coffee habit, but as you can tell, this is really about transformation for people who feel stuck, not information. Because here's the thing, if there's anything going on in our life that we're unhappy with, if there's a sign of chaos, Our brain believes it has already come up with the best solution. It might be coffee, or it might be alcohol, or it might be sugar, or it might be relationships. The fact is, it's the best solution that your brain's come up with up to that point. And for that, there's no judgment. But is it the best solution available? Or might there be a better solution only visible from the Google Earth view? So if you're currently struggling with chaos of any kind, and you would like to explore the transformation that a health and life coach can offer, let's have a chat. Drop the word brave into the comment section and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help. As a certified health and life coach, I help women who feel stuck and frustrated by the patterns in their lives that are chaotic, especially women in their middle ages, when our health is really more complicated than normal. So if that sounds like you, let's start that conversation so that you can achieve the transformation that you deserve. So that's my spiel. And I am super curious, what is your biggest takeaway from this training today? Drop your answer into the chat section so that I can celebrate that takeaway with you. I am hoping that there are a few of you out there that have felt a transformation. Getting curious, asking yourself the questions, what am I getting from this? What are the solutions I've come up with so far? What am I benefiting from, but what is it costing me? The payoff and the cost, two sides of the same coin. Next week, we're going to be discussing how to kick the mindless eating habit. That habit of snacking on things while doing something else, like maybe sitting and eating lunch at your desk, or watching TV only to look down and realize that you ate an entire full-size bag of Doritos, which may have happened to me once or twice or 7 times. Yeah. So join me here next week as I take you through the mind of a coach yet again. See you then.